Hello again. All right, so I left off with the project at this particular um, point in the project, I should say, with the single artboard on inside of Illustrator. And like I was saying, this is the canvas in some of the other creative software that you might have used. In other words, they would call this maybe, but it is an artboard. On the far right, we have a toolbar. Most of Adobe's creative software allows you to grab those particular menus or toolboards and drag them off and bring them closer to your board itself, or you can simply keep them docked within inside of Illustrator. Just know that you can move around that type of really menu, different types of menus throughout this interface. But what I want to kind of show you is ways to kind of visualize a poster. So with our rectangle tool, square here on the far left, and the shortcut for it is M. It creates squares or rectangles. If you wanted to see additional tools, you can simply left click and hold on that small little tiny arrow here, the bottom right, and it'll reveal some other choices for primitive shapes. Leave it on the rectangle. And perhaps I'm just going to go ahead and take off my stroke here at the top. For some reason, if you guys do not see this menu within your Illustrator, I am on the workspace that is Essential Classic. It's here on the far right, and this little like rectangle icon with a small menu on the left side of it. Sometimes Illustrator will default to something like painting or just essential. I would suggest Essential Classics. It is a very good workspace, and it allows you to have this extra toolbar here at the top. It allows us to change our colors. So again, I'm with the rectangle tool, and right now the fill color, or what the rectangle color will be, is white. Don't want that. Maybe I want something, start here with purple. Maybe something a little bit less saturated, so I'm even, probably won't have this color, but a less saturated color might be better for what we're doing. Cool. So I'm going to go ahead and maybe draw out what they call a header. Maybe this will be the poster header. Maybe it will house a title. Maybe it will house more information about what's happening or about what intended outcome should be. The reason why I say that is that sometimes a title could be placed within the actual content of the poster, and then this area could be utilized as a call out second or a sense of urgency. That's the only reason I say that headers can be titles. Now, headers usually are followed by footers. In other words, you kind of lay out that typical classical style of a letter, like the letterheads when you get information and stuff. They usually have, your signature or some sort of sign off at the bottom half. So it's always good to maybe place an idea for a footer. You may not utilize it, but it gives you a real basic way of just, uh, looking at your layout. The layout is really something like this is very classical, just very simple. You would have maybe possible imagery or calls to action with logos or branding in the larger area, and then the reason or company that's supporting it, maybe in the top half. So sorry. And then in the bottom half, you would leave the audience with something, whether it would be who it was produced by, the actors, or who is involved in this particular storytelling. So it's just a basic layout. Now, if I want a few different types, which of course I probably would, I could come back to my artboard. And again, the artboard icon is this small, similar to a copy icon. If you hover over it, it'll let you know. These three little lines in our GUI allow us to kind of get some options of what we want to do. And perhaps I want to duplicate this. So I would just select a artboard. And now I have two. So I could do two of the same layout designs right next to each other, and I could compare them. But maybe on the second one here, I don't want my image rectangle. Maybe it'll be something different. So if I come over to my shapes again on the far left, and we can hold that small arrow. I go to the ellipse tool. The tool's going to make more of a round or oval shape. And I want to choose a different color because I want it to be separate from my header and footer. So maybe I'll do this light blue, unsaturated blue. And when I'm here within the artboards, if I click and drag, I have the freedom of really kind of skewing or misshaping my oval. Really weird type of positions, or I mean shapes, not really. But if I hold Shift, Shift will constrain it, a circle shape. I'm holding Shift. I'm left clicking and holding, still sizing my oval. Then I'll just simply release, and it gives me basically its perfect circle. Now, if I wanted it perfectly in the center, I could definitely use my move tool, and I could drag it around until I feel it's centered. There is an easier way. We do have alignment tools. Alignment tools either located here on the toolbar on the far right, or underneath Windows, you can simply select Align. I'm going to go ahead and reselect my oval. And with the alignment tools kind of showing here, I could center in the horizontal area of my artboard. And this is actually centering with another object. So this top choices may not really work for you. I'm not centering on an object. I'm basically distributing this object onto an artboard. So possibly something a little bit different, a vertical distribution. No, still not quite what I want. So let's try horizontal space. You know what? I think I centered it. So it's really not adding, it's really not moving at all when I dropped it right there to the center. I think I got lucky. Try to move it out of the way. And let's just make sure we are aligning artboard. There we go. So the top half did align. Go ahead and do that again. I'll move it in this position, just so it's not centered. And I'll come up to Align Object and select it. Also select the vertical alignment. If I do that, it places this dead center into my wireframe. If I lower it, I can just simply nudge it, and nudging it means using the arrow key on your keyboard. And right now I'm hitting the down key, so it slowly moves my object, where I want it. A little bit more of a fine-tuned, uh, you know, edit in it. So now I have two different artboards, two different layouts, and perhaps I'm going to be, putting in text top half, image in the center, text on the bottom. I hope this helps a little bit, and we will look at possibly editing these wireframes as we move forward.